Hello, everybody. Welcome to Into the Score. My name is Avishai Darash. I'm your host for this podcast. As always, in Into the Score, we talk to very interesting people from arts, culture, entrepreneurship, and sometimes, not always, day-to-day politics. And today, I have a very special guest here, and we have a special setup also here in the studio for that, to protect his identity and the wonderful things that he's doing. It's Laser 3.14.
Hi.
How's it going, man?
I'm doing all right. It's nice to be here, man.
It's nice to have you.
Oh, thank you.
I had to actually stop the conversation in the middle because it was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is like podcast material. We can't stop with it. But
yeah, we had a great intro conversation and really liked it.
Exactly. But I'm going to ask you also about these things that we just talked about. In the beginning, before that, could you please take me from the beginning? Like your story from the beginning.
My story, I was born in Suriname in 1972. I don't remember living there because I was very small. And in 1975, Suriname became independent of Holland. It used to be a Dutch colony, and they asked to be independent. And the the Queen granted it at the time. So my father said, like, yeah, does he want? Do I want to have my kids growing up there? Is that going to be prosperous for them? Are they going to have the same chances if I stay here or I move abroad? And he chose to move abroad. First, he went to New York, but New York in 1975 was bankrupt. At least it was like a war zone. If you see the images of that period, I can imagine that he was like, I'm not going to bring my kids there. It was like a lot of crime, a lot of violence, and everything was like broken down and burned down. If you would walk through the Bronx, Manhattan, he said like it was very heavy. Then he visited Amsterdam, and he liked the atmosphere here. So that's why he moved us all over.
Was it easy? It's a bit of a layman question. Was it easy to do the process to move to the Netherlands?
Yeah,
easier than the States, right? I guess. With the visa
yeah, the state we would have been neutralized. You know?
Exactly.
For me, because I was smaller, it would have been a bit different. But my parents needed to be neutralized, and probably my brothers too. My brothers and my sisters too. But because it was a Dutch colony, we were on Dutch ground. So coming here was no problem. You know, it was like very easy, and a lot of Suriname people from that period choose to move to Amsterdam and Holland.
Right. And you're moving to Amsterdam. You are 3 in that time.
I was 2.5.
2.5. So
almost 3. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the thing that how were you introduced into arts? How were you introduced to graffiti?
That was later because as a kid I always liked to draw and make things. So that was anything creative that we did at school. That was always my favorite part of being at school. I like to get information. That was something I also liked. But the most the creative part was something that I always liked. So when I was a kid, at the end of the 70s, you had like a lot of squatters and punks going through Amsterdam, and you had like a lot of protest graffiti, but with spray cans, but also with I have to do that in Dutch, kwasten and verf.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I used to walk through the city and saw all these writings, but it was all very political. But I didn't understand it because I was too young. But it always was branded in my brain. And by the beginning of the 80s, graffiti started. But it started with mostly tags, so people's names. Like you had one of my favorite was Dr. Air. Another hero of mine at the time was Ego. You had Dragon, Tarantula, another hero of mine, Smurrie, Harakiri. You had all these names on the street. And I saw it and I just wanted to copy it. I didn't even know it was called graffiti or tags or anything or who did it. But I just liked the imagery everywhere of these names that kept repeating themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And I went into my neighborhood as a small kid with my marker. I started writing my name, not knowing.
With the marker on the wall.
With the marker, with chalk, with anything I could get my hands up. Because I just wanted to emulate these guys.
How old were you more or less?
Sorry?
How old were you back then more or less?
I think around 11.
Okay.
Still very young.
Yeah.
And at some point I came to the graphic school, the Amsterdamse Grafische School. And that's where I met a lot of graffiti writers, you know. And I met all the names, a lot of names that I saw. And that really got me involved into graffiti.
Yeah, the community basically.
Yeah,
was,
the community
was opening for you.
Yeah, it was opening for me, and I started hanging out with people that were totally into the graffiti. But it was still slow and just hanging out, doing my tags on the streets, going to see if there was a new graffiti somewhere. I would go there with my friends, and we would be like really mesmerized by what we saw, you know, because it was totally something new.
Take it at face value that I don't know anything about this world. That's why I'm so fascinated about it. How do you let, like, how do you let people know that there's a new graffiti?
Oh, at the time you didn't have any social media.
Exactly.
But everything was word of mouth. So at school, because you had like a lot of people from the community were there, we would hear like, blah, blah, blah is going to do a piece there. So tonight, blah, blah, blah is going to do a piece somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day after school, we would go. Sometimes it was people at school. Then we heard, Alien or whatever is going to do a piece on that and that wall. And the next day we would go. So it was through the community that you would hear things. And there were a couple of locations, like the Max Eeuwenplein, where now the casino is.
Yeah.
That used to be the old prison.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it used to be derelict. So for us, it was like this playground for graffiti. You had Waterlooplein, that was a very important spot. You had Schellingwouderbrug in the east, and through the whole city you had like a lot of graffitis. You had Vonder Bridge, that was also a very famous spot. So we would go around the city and to all these locations.
Yeah, and everything had to be covert constantly?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And how do you coordinate something like this?
Oh, in what sense?
To do something so covert or illegal?
Oh, yeah, you would do it at night.
You would do it at night, and what happens if you get caught, actually?
You would be taken to the cell, sometimes spend the night there, and the next day they would let you go. You get like what they called procesverbaal, and sometimes you had to go to court, and they would fine you because then you had to pay the cleaning costs. Or sometimes you didn't hear anything. You didn't hear anything back. Yeah, and
it's not so. It's not. The deterrence is not that serious.
These days it's different, but at those days, because we were just starting out, I don't think they really fully understood at the time. It's already 40 years ago almost. So at the time there was not. The police didn't know really what to do with it, and gradually now they know. You know,
of course.
Now they have like a whole task force on graffiti, but at the time it was not there yet.
Why the name Laser? How did you get Laser? And of course the
314,
the pi. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, when I started out in the 80s, I started out with my own name, and I had like a couple of different names, and at the end at some point I started with R-A-R-E. I wrote it for a long time. I think 3-4 years I wrote that. And by the end of the 80s, I think 88, I wrote for a short time Crew, C-R-O-E, with a friend of mine. But it was his name. And I wanted something that connected with me. And I like movies. I love science fiction quite a bit. So I came up with Laser. I was like, laser gun, laser. That fits my interest. And that's how I started with the name Laser. And I started doing a lot of tags, a lot of graffiti with that. Yeah. And after a couple of years, that name kind of became known in the graffiti scene.
Yeah, and the pie that you
the pie came way later. That was when I started to write the work I do now. That was at the end of the 90s, I think 2000. I started experimenting with poetry on the street. So I thought it was a different way of communicating your graffiti. Instead of just doing your tags, and the beautiful pieces. I was like, hey, let's simplify it and just express your feeling through words.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought it started more out as a little experiment. You know, like I was interested in poetry and I thought it was a nice idea to add poetry to graffiti.
Yeah. What is the importance actually of having classical training when you do graffiti for that sense? Because if you went to a school for that, you went to graphic design, right?
Yeah, no, that's a graphic. It's not really graphic design. It's a graphic school. So you learn printing, typography, you learn drawing
okay.
and stuff like that.
So that's really connected to tagging.
Sorry?
Really connected to doing your tag.
Yeah, I think it's because it was one of the few schools that was the middle schools that was creative. So a lot of graffiti writers.
Yeah.
Because you learn how letters work. You learn how to print. You learn how to draw. So I think that why a lot of graffiti writers said like, oh, we're gonna go there because it's very creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically, was it like a natural process that brought the people there, or was it something that people understood? You have to know these crafts. You have to know this technique. Let's go there.
I think it's. I think a lot of kids that are creative, and that like drawing, that like comics, that like animation, stuff like that, were automatically drawn to graphic school. You know, because it's something you can like explore that. So I think that was mostly the reason why a lot of people ended up there. Whether they became printers or they became graphic designers, it was this urge that we all have to do something, to draw with our hands and explore that. You know, and there was not a lot of middle schools that, maybe IFCO, that was a bit more creative. Or you would have gone to technical school, but it was really a technical school where you would learn technical drawing and stuff like that. But the school was very creative. I also it reminded me a bit of that series Fame, that movie. When I watched that movie, it was like, it's a bit like our school without the dancing and the theater, but it was more the creative people. And
I really loved that series.
I love that as a kid.
I was really like, I want to be a part of this school.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I wish I was at that school. You know?
Exactly. And how much do you see the importance of graffiti actually in our day-to-day society?
I think it influenced more than the art certain artists would like
give credit to. Yeah,
give credit to. It influenced a lot. You see it, especially it's not only the graffiti part. What happened there when I grew up was like the music changed, because suddenly you had rap music. You had breakdancing, you had graffiti, but also the way we dress could change. Suddenly you see now everybody wears sneakers, for instance, and trainers and sports clothes. That was not normal at that period when we started it out. It was like you would wear normal shoes, leather shoes, and we were like, we're going to wear sneakers because it's part of the street culture. And I remember when we were young, if you would wear sneakers and the stuff that we wore, people would look like you were a bit antisocial.
Oh wow!
And but now it's like it influenced everything, you know. And
it's a huge business.
Yeah, it's also a huge business, and you see it also in art. When I go now to art fairs, not everywhere, but you kind of see the influence also with people who are not generally busy with our culture or with street art or graffiti, but you see them also use spray paint, and the language is there. So it influenced quite a bit. Maybe sometimes it's a bit, influence can be a bit stealth or something that lies on the undercurrent, and with other in other parts you can really see it clearly. People just embrace it.
Yeah. Wow.
But there's a difference between graffiti itself is less accepted than street art. Street art is more the acceptable part than the art.
Yeah. Is it being taught also in a traditional way, graffiti, or is it still like very fringe?
It's still the fringe, so you still need to go on the street and discover it yourself. That's only a little bit.
I'm asking this. Sorry that I cut you. I'm asking this because I saw some incredible pieces of art that I just thought to myself, this could be studied in a serious institution. And the question is, why doesn't it happen yet?
I have no idea. I think it's still the stigma of that. It's. I have no idea because. I think if you have art academy, you should almost have like a graffiti classes, you know, where people learn to use spray paint and do pieces. Because there's especially these days when I see what people do on walls, for instance, like these big buildings with these almost like a Rembrandt level, Caravaggio level of art skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's academic. You know what these people are doing. It's not only what I used to do, like a normal piece. That's next level. Knowing your color, knowing your anatomy, knowing the light, knowing perspective, knowing layering of colors, knowing where the light is. It's very academic what a couple of people are doing, but it's not seen as such.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing, and that's what something I notice is. The moment you use a spray paint and you put the name graffiti on it, it can't be academic or intelligent or whatever. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the moment you say, oh, it's street art, suddenly it can be academic, and it's kind of that's really weird. That's really for me a weird thing.
That interesting. The way
at least
of branding it. No,
that's how I experience it.
Yeah, I take it completely at face value what you're saying, because it's really that thing of graffiti. Basically, you can have the same piece, exactly the same piece, and if you call it graffiti, it's underground, it's criminal, it's drugs, it's whatever, all the negative connotations. And if it's street art, it's an expression of the artist.
Yeah, and that's really weird. And for me, it's even when I was a kid and I was doing my illegal pieces and my illegal tag, I always experienced it as an art form. That was something that was not particularly legal, didn't take away the feeling of being an artist for me, you know, because what I saw at the time is that I really had this great hunger and desire to develop myself as an artist and to become better and to learn my skills, but also get knowledge about what this culture is, you know. So it's not dissimilar from being somebody who studies standard art and drawing and classical art, and trying to understand your skills and the knowledge part. You know, for me, it's there's no difference in there, but the world will make that difference for you, and that's a bit.
It's a real question that I ask myself a lot. When does something become an art form?
Yeah, that's a good question.
When does actually let's say even a mundane practice, you can look at it in that way, of me holding a spray can and just doing a line, where between doing that line and becoming an artist in that, how do where does it end?
That's a very good question, and I wish I had the ready answer for that, you know, but I always... Andy Warhol said everything is art. You know, one of my heroes. He said like even a soup can be art, and so I don't want to go that far because I think that some things are just mechanical and don't apply to art. But I always find it very hard to define art, because when I see it, I can say, oh, that's an art piece, or that's just a relic from the past, or something that people made. You know. Yeah. So
I wonder if it has to do. Sorry to cut you. It's something to share, because I'm an artist myself. It's that constant repetition to the point of full self-expression. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Think how many times you did the same line until you were satisfied with that line. Yeah. How many times you wrote laser 3.14 until you knew this, until it became your tag. Yeah. I mean, I saw your tag when I got it from Joao, the producer. I was like, oh, I know this. I've seen it. I've seen it all over the city. And to get to a point that it's done so effortlessly, but with a maximum expression. So that's art form. For me. That's when then you have community behind it. Then you have people that are pushing towards perfecting it and making it better. Because if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's like the old saying. And I'm sure that if you would look at, I'm just talking in general, graffiti from the 80s and graffiti from now, I'm saying it, maybe I'm wrong, the level right now is much higher.
Obviously.
Technically is like, wow. Because you had all these years and people perfecting and learning from each other and giving it to each other. So that's why I'm still baffled that it's not being taught in school.
Yeah, me too. There's a couple of things that I want to go back to because I didn't want to intercut you, by the way.
No, sure, please.
One thing about repetition, that's something I really was conscious of. When I started doing the laser tags, I was like, how do I get my tag more like something that people recognize? First of all, repetition. That's the key. But what I also was thinking about was like, why do certain logos work and why don't others work? Why is the Coca-Cola logo now so iconic and so timeless? The Pepsi-Cola, the Nike, you name it. And you will recognize them from the corner of your eyes, You don't even have to read them anymore. That's something I was very interested in. And I started to develop my tag that way. And the next idea was like, you need to do it for a long time, to a point that people will see it from the corner of their eye and know it's laser.
Consistency of brand.
Consistency of branding. And I couldn't express it I couldn't express it academically, but that's something that I really felt when I started developing it. And there was another thing you said, like about the graffiti from the 80s to now, the quality that it exploded. That's really true. And what I wanted to say about that, and that's something that's very interesting, and that goes also back to the first something we said in before, like when does it become art? A lot of pieces and graffiti artists from the 70s, 80s in New York that was seen as vandals, blah, 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 blah. Suddenly, because time has passed, 40 years later, it has value. People even see those canvases that they made at that period. For a long time, they were like worth, you could buy them for next to nothing. Now they're like 200,000 euros, 300,000 euros. They kind of gained value because they represent something that existed for a period of time that doesn't exist anymore. That brand, that style of graffiti, it doesn't exist anymore, and it represents the early days of graffiti. And all these works are becoming now very valuable. So now suddenly it slowly starts to drip into the contemporary world of art. And art history. So it's very interesting to experience that.
Yeah, I guess because, of course, I'm assuming here could be that these pieces canonized things that became like very standard later. And then you want to see the source. And because that artist, maybe they're not alive anymore. So they cannot create any more new work. And that becomes like the gospel.
That becomes the gospel.
The gospel of what will happen afterwards. I keep on thinking about is that we have so many artists on the chair, where you're sitting, and a lot of them are taking this quest of, I want to be the new writer of the new gospel. I want to be that person that writes a new gospel. It's not something necessarily, I think, that has to do with what you want.
Nope.
It's what the society wants eventually. I don't think that these graffiti artists, they made the piece and they thought in 40 years
not at all.
They expressed something, they downloaded almost something that came through them, and they expressed it on the wall or the piece of concrete canvas, let's say, and it became valuable because the community continued being consistent. If the community is consistent, you win in the end. Like, consistency is king.
And if the community also develops and there's a history at some point, and things become legacy, that's also very important. And all these pieces and all these writers are now legacy artists. They're in books. They're legends.
Yeah.
You know, so they're suddenly your name or the stuff that you did as a kid, as a 15-year-old kid, 60-year-old kid, you weren't aware that you were gonna be this legacy artist or whatever. You were like, hey, I want to hit that wall with the best piece I can do, you know, and I want to impress my friends and my community. That was it, you know, and I'm part of this culture, and this is what I do. Yeah. And history, kind of turns you into this. Yeah, maybe sometimes a pivotal point in certain cultures and subcultures. So and it what I like about it is that it happened organically. You didn't really consciously be like, oh, I'm gonna be this, blah blah blah. It just happened, and that's the most. Then it's honest, then it's authentic, and people will tap into that. You know. Yeah,
and it's amazing. You know, there is this sentence. You can fool some of the people some of the time. You cannot fool everybody all the time, right?
It's
who said that?
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincoln. And it's a testament to the fact that at the end of the day, truth will prevail.
Oh yeah.
And what I mean with truth will prevail is that what you say about these 15-year-old kids, that they put a piece on their concrete canvas, and they didn't know, but they came from a very authentic place.
Yep.
And I'm sure 100% that you have in your industry or in your community some grifters out there.
Oh yeah.
That are like, you know, if I do this, I'm going to get this.
Of course.
Again, art, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but it's a pattern that I continue seeing coming back with people that are sitting where you're sitting, needs to come from a very, very pure and very innocent place. And not, it's hard, especially like in moments of different people in different moments of their career, it's hard not to go into this planning. I'm going to do this, and if I do that, then I get this deal, and then this deal is going to lead to that. I think that the beginning has to be always let's say the kern, you know, the core of it needs to be authenticity. What are you expressing yourself? People cannot be fooled at some point. People feel it. You
feel it. You hear it. You kind of, your instinct. Kind of figures it out at some point.
Yeah, it's like when you look at a prompt, an AI prompt, and you're like,
something is off about it.
Something with the eyes, you see the mouth, the way that the person talks, although it becomes better and better to a scary moment.
I was shocked by the last, the last thing that they released. You see now all these videos by the new Google engine, AI engine.
Yeah, which one?
I'm bad at it.
No, sure. Which one?
But it's... Google just released a new AI movie generator.
Yeah, okay.
And the quality is insane.
Yeah.
I saw one with all these stormtroopers, they're like with the cameras and...
wow.
Dude, that's next level.
No, that's not... Let's say like this. If you saw that 5 years ago...
Yeah, that would have been...
You would think it's a production.
Yeah.
You would think this. There is no way that this has been done in a computer from a prompt. And... What do you feel about like the taking over the revolution of AI also with visual arts right now?
Again, it's like there are always like these technical revolutions through history that makes people nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that they're always like afraid it will take over and creativity will disappear. I'm trying to figure out some examples in my life, you know. When the keyboard came, you know, in the 70s, by the end of the 70s, bands started using a lot of keyboards, and guitar bands kind of became a bit obsolete. They were still there. They kind of made a resurgence, but the moment the keyboard came, the drum computer, people say, "Oh, it's very simple. Now it's dead." You know, everybody can do it, but still you have to put some creative vision in it.
Exactly.
You know, still you have this human thing.
Yeah.
If you're not creative, you can't prompt whatever you want. It's gonna look like crap.
Yeah.
But if you're this guy that kind of creatively understands what it can do and take it to another level and bring it to another level, you're going to see really amazing things. So I'm not totally against it. So that's what I hope. The only thing I'm a bit nervous about is that it's going to take a lot of jobs away, from creative people, because it's going to reduce the work power and the interaction that you have between creative. When you make a movie or ad or something else, there's like a lot of people involved. But I'm a bit nervous. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. It becomes so powerful that you actually need one or two persons to do it.
I think we will see more of that, to be honest, like people running major factories, 2 or 3 people running it. I just, funny, I went to see a movie with my son. I went to Pathé in the Arena, and you used to have someone at the ticket sale.
Yeah.
And you used to have someone checking the ticket, and then you used to have someone in the casa, like getting the sweets or candies that you bought. And then you would have someone checking your ticket next to the door. And all of that got replaced, and now you have one person just checking that you're not getting a ticket for an underage kid for, let's say, 16 plus or something. And you have one person that helps you troubleshoot the self-scan. And that's it.
That's it.
So you have 2 people on the floor. You used to have 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and now you have 2 people. And that's also going to be reduced, and going to be reduced and reduced and reduced. So we are seeing it happening before our eyes, really, that thing of less and less jobs are needed. We're not even talking about self-driving cars that will come. Your own AI assistant that is going to take care of all your administration and all that stuff. However, I think actually the costs of labor are going to drop significantly because you won't have, someone flipping burgers or making your food or bringing your package. They don't have a family to feed. They don't have vacations that they need. They don't need to pay taxes. It's a robot. It's a machine that can be utilized and used for the sake of the corporation.
And that's just only function.
Exactly. So I'm curious about what is going to happen with the economic system to that. If we're going, because people were talking about universal basic income and the fact that it's going to make a problem with inflation also. But at the same time, labor is going to be reduced to a point of almost non-existent in certain industries. So it's the same if you think about it. Probably, if I'm putting it back to your industry, like cans of spray would cost almost nothing. Because there won't be people.
The human element is gone. It's all mechanics.
It's all mechanics, and they're going to give it, and you'll be able to it will be dirt cheap.
I'm always wondering what is also going to do for how do you call it? Having hoe zeg je dat in het Engels? Having a cause, doel in je leven, because
purpose, having
purpose in life, because if everything is done for you, and I think some people can get a lot of value in life from labor and just working at places and making your own money and making your ends meet. If everything like that is taken away, you see it a lot with. I don't know. I didn't live at that time, but people that would go to work and provide for their family, that has value.
I think we're it's interesting. The first thing comes up in my mind is basically we are ushering the antithesis period of what happened after the Second World War. What I mean with that is that after the Second World War, the world was in shambles. There was no time to philosophize on things. We have to build. Rotterdam was flattened. I saw Stuttgart. I remember because I have a kid with a woman from Stuttgart, and Stuttgart was flattened.
Of course.
So what do we need to do? We need to rebuild. Rebuild takes a lot of time. Efforts, resources, all that stuff. There is no time to think about how you feel. There is no time for your mental problems. And you have to work and do it now. And it gave birth to a generation that is very pragmatic, which is my parents, at least. I mean, we have, how old are you, if I may ask?
52.
52, I'm 38. So we have some years between, 14 years, but it's like, the thing is that still it's the same kind of similar generation to pragmatic. We have to work. We have to this, and then it's going to get to a point. In my opinion, I don't know. It could be, you can crucify me in the comments. It's fine. To a point that all we will be busy with is meaning.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
Because all these labor connected aspects of I need to provide, I need to this, and then it's really the question of why are you here? The big question of what is your purpose in this?
I think we created a society where there's too much free time, and you put your purpose in ideology, politics, stuff like that. And I wonder if that makes people more happy to find purpose in that. I think because it's still that's a hard one, actually. I'm wondering if I'm equipped to answer that question properly, but I think if you don't put value in making things and achieving things by labor or stuff like that, it will feel empty. You know? Do you understand?
Absolutely.
If it's only like a lot of free time, you're thinking a lot. It doesn't materialize in more things that are tangible. Do you understand what I'm trying to get
absolutely.
to?
If I wake up tomorrow morning, I can tell you that. If I wake up tomorrow morning and I can graffiti like you, I will not appreciate it. I will not. If you wake up tomorrow morning, you can play piano like I play, you will not appreciate this. You will see it as a disposable talent of yours. You will see it as like, but I didn't have the 20, 30, 40, 50 years behind it of failing, accomplishing, hating it, loving it, having basically the entire spectrum of emotion that it comes to this craft, it just handed to you. And I think that what is happening, what we're seeing in societies right now is that, and I'm talking mostly about libertarian, Western, let's say free societies, which are mostly capitalistic, is that a lot of these freedoms are being taken for granted. Completely for granted. Because they're taken for granted, people start to involve themselves in conflicts or involve themselves in problems that have nothing to do with them. You can always find a common thread, always. Because, this country is doing this, but the country where I am is connected to them in this specific way. I get enraged by this. Let me do something about this. The activism, I'm not so sure of how effective it is, if it's actual activism or is it narcissism.
Or is it performative?
Yes.
And I think social media has to do a lot with that. I think activism back in the days, like what I saw in Holland, people didn't have houses, your kids didn't have places to live, so they would squat it and make something out of it, again, something tangible. Now it's like, hey, let's show how good I am, Get my iPhone out.
Virtue
signaling. I find it a bit, that kind of activism, why? I don't get it.
Let's say like this.
It's a bit superficial. It sounds, I don't want to slag people, but it feels a bit superficial for me. Are you really for the cause there, or are you there for yourself to show how virtuous you are?
Yeah. We were talking about during the recording, I remember that it's really just about you wanting to look better.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it's you just wanting to look better in the eyes of your peers that are in a very similar situation to where you're at. You haven't experienced actual war at your doorstep, actual fear of actual terror, and then to go and spew propaganda about it, or to go and take uninformed sides. Anybody is free to say and to express whatever they want in a specific place of the world. Let's say like this. People are taking that also for granted with their rights. It doesn't mean that their view needs to be seen as authority.
Nope. But that's what you see, that they see their views as authority, and they go out to other countries and expect it to be similar, and that people share these views. And different cultures don't really share those shoes,
Yeah.
and we saw it with a couple of the activists that went to Egypt.
I was just about to say, I want to open this.
Yeah, but they kind of were flawed. Like they were like shocked.
Yeah.
Like, what, we were fighting for you? They were totally
Yeah.
shocked because they were like living in this bubble that
Yeah.
people were like waiting for them. A friend of mine, my best friend, always makes that joke because when we were kid, we used to sit in this coffee shop, smoke joints, hang out. But he always comes back to the story. Like there was this girl that came up to me, and probably because I look the way I do, she thought I would like connect with it, and she said like, "Yeah, I'm going to Africa to help people, blah blah blah." And I said like, "Did they call you from Africa? Did they ask you for your help?
Did they
And-
call you?
Did they call you? Did they ask you specifically for help?" And it came back. It really was really a question. He saw the whole world collapse, and he always reminds me of that. Like he said, "I was so pissing my pants." She didn't know what to do with it, you know.
It's the white savior complex.
Yeah, that's what I
Full on,
kinda-
full on, and it's really what I mean. By the time this comes out, I mean it's going to be in a let's say a different place of the news. But yeah, these activists that went to Egypt and did no research about, are you allowed to protest there?
Nope.
Did no research about what does that mean actually from you to walk from where you were all the way to Gaza. And even when I saw the maps that they put out, it was wrong. They
Oh,
put
really?
Rafah where Elat is. It's a completely different side of Israel. It has nothing to do where Gaza is. So misinformed, entitled, narcissist, you put all these things together, then you have a march that goes to Egypt, and the Egyptians, they were beating them up, they were ridiculing them. And the sentence they made it, and we talked about just before we started recording, is, yeah, but we're doing it in America, we can also do it here.
Yeah, but that's a skewed worldview.
Yeah.
Because you expect that the whole world is like that. And what the guy said he was right. Yeah, but this is here.
Yeah.
He literally said, yeah, but it worked different here.
Yeah.
And you should have been aware of that, you know. I'm aware if I go to whatever country, if I went to Russia to tag there.
Yeah.
I knew if I write the writer that I was with, that I met there, he said, I know your work. Sometimes you write political stuff. Don't do it here. You can.
Can you imagine if you said, what do you mean don't do it here?
Don't do it here. I do it in Amsterdam.
I do it. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And then you end up in a gulag or something.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
You're surprised.
yeah, you're surprised. What do you mean me in the gulag? But what they don't understand is that how it's being perceived to the outside is patronizing.
Yeah, it's belittling.
You are actually behaving like a colonizer.
Yeah.
You think my ways are better. I'm going to come to your place and I'm going to tell you how things should be.
Yeah, that's the conquistadors did the same thing. You know, they
Exactly. And that's what I love. Like getting back to our conversation here about art and repetition and getting immersed in something that is so deep as an art form, that humbles you.
Oh yeah.
That gives you purpose on a level that is, it's unmatched. You know, we're trying to use words. You know, we did about 30 of those podcasts. It's like I can't find still the words to express how important it is. And I think that any human should put themselves in a situation where they draw, create, play an instrument, do something. It doesn't have to be a profession. Don't worry about that.
But the journey is so beautiful.
Yeah.
If I see where I was when I was 4 and started drawing, and the whole journey and all the experiences, and it was not about success. It was not about money. It was jumping from experience, mistake, learning something, opening your mind.
Yeah.
Because you play piano, when you're struggling with this thing and suddenly you get it, bang, and it just you go from this struggle to this light. You know, you can.
Absolutely,
it's hard to explain it.
Absolutely.
I've been through that so many times. Like when I started to do my first graffiti, and I couldn't do it, and I was looking at all the other guys, and it was so good, and suddenly I could I don't drip anymore. Okay, that now I can move to the other stage. And you that's the experience of moving from this plateau to this plateau to this plateau. Totally, I'm tired of it. I'm going to do something else. And you kind of start again, like, and it's sometimes so daunting, and like, shit, okay. And you look at other people and you see how good they are. You're like, I hope to achieve that as well, but I'm here. And you go through this journey, and it's so beautiful because it's not only that you outgrow, but you also grow as a person.
Yeah.
And that's the price.
Yeah.
That you grow as a person. And
people, it's amazing you just said price. I wanna add to that. If you look at history of ours as humans, we had ritual and sacrifice.
Yeah.
We were born into these, let's say, societal perceptions, Ritual, take for example, ritual. You put your cans, you're just about to paint, to do a new piece. You don't just get out of bed and you do it. You prepare yourself to it. You take care of your body. You take care of the day for that day. You put the time. That's ritual. Yeah. That's practice.
Yeah.
What do you sacrifice? You sacrifice your time. You sacrifice finances to be able to do it. You sacrifice going out with friends and running after pleasure. Yeah. But you're creating something that is an extension and bigger of you, from you. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than what you can actually express. And that's why I said it, but I'm just going to strengthen what you said. To go from one plateau to the other, it's the best feeling.
That's the best feeling.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah, and it's also very addictive, to be honest. Yeah. But I still love it, man. That's I remember going out for the first times with these tags, and I was like, I have no idea what it. I was not planning to do anything, to go anywhere with it. It was just this feeling and this thing that I had the first time I went out, and I did this first time I did the words. And I went back the next day. It was so interesting for me because it opened doors in my head. Now I can express myself through words.
Yeah.
And the words just kept coming, and there was this hunger to go out almost every night. Just go. Doesn't matter when it was winter, summer. I didn't care. I remember standing sometimes in porches, like waiting for the rain to stop so I can go on. But what I liked about creativity is when you discover something new or you develop yourself, and it just keep opening these doors, I love that feeling.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like composition almost. I was talking about with a student, like how does a composition process happen? I wonder if you see yourself in it. Is you open a door, you get into a room, and that's the beginning of the composition. And then all of a sudden you have this avenue or this avenue you can choose. And before you know it, you build yourself this castle.
Yeah.
This castle or this mansion of a concept, of a composition, of a drawing. But I don't know how it's going to sound from the beginning. I don't know. I can't come with this control. I need to come with openness. And that's where also for a lot of artists, the aspect of humility is so important. That's why artists, they can be the most beautiful people, but also they can fall into narcissism. They can fall into ego trips. They can fall into not checking up on themselves. How do you deal that with yourself if that happens?
Narcissism.
Ego.
I suck at it. I suck at it. No, it's not really something I always notice when people meet me, they're always you're very nice and very open and very relaxed, and that's something that's just in my nature. I don't like the moment, because it's never really about me.
Actually, it's funny when I ask you that because we're not even showing your face, so it's like the opposite of narcissism.
Yeah, and that it's something I feel really deeply uncomfortable with. Even when I'm. It's kind of weird when I talk about my art now with the podcast. It's something that is part of it. But overall, I don't really talk about my art that much with people. It's something that I just do, and if people give me props for it when I meet people and I really like your work and I'm a fan and I collect it or something, I'm really grateful for it. Because you touch something in people or they appreciate what you do. but I'm not really that guy that goes into the mirror like, dude, you're amazing. You're this. It's I can't do that. You know? Like, yeah, you did it. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I would be
Putting
weird.
yourself in lotion.
Yeah, put myself in lotion. I would be weirded out by that, you know. But I still appreciate what I do, and that also that I get the chance to just do it and make a living out of it. That's something that I really didn't expect. You know? That I was like, that shocked me. It's still, I'm still startled when people order stuff or buy stuff. I'm so okay, cool.
My next question about it is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome. That I have to admit, I struggle with that sometimes a bit. That I think it also has to do that I come from a poor background, so I'm not used to having. It's kind of weird because where I come from, I was afraid I was not gonna go anywhere, you know, and I was like dirt. My mother raised like 8 children with the cleaning woman's job salary, and my father was out of the picture.
Wow! So she raised 8 kids by herself. Yeah. Wow!
So we grew up in the Bijlmer, very poor, and then we went into the west here in Barcelona.
Where in the Bijlmer did you?
Gliphoeven, Ganshoeven.
Oh wow! I live next to Ganshoeven. Yeah.
So I grew up very poor. So I remember when I was a kid. Most people that I grew up, they didn't have a lot of money, but we had each other. We had music. We had stuff like that, movies, and watching movies together and hanging out. So still to this day, when I walk into certain areas or deal with certain people, I'm still a little bit that kid that is still in that poverty mode, you know. And it's something that's there, and I'm very aware of it. Yeah. But it's also something that keeps me grounded, you know, because I know where I come from and what a great chance it is to do this, you know. It's something I don't really take for granted, you know, but it also takes a lot of effort and work.
Other people in your family are also dabbling with art or doing a profession?
Yeah, funnily, my family, we were always pretty creative. I remember my brother and I used to draw a lot, my kid brother and I, and he's making music a lot these days. But other sister of mine is very good with the sewing machine. She did in Dutch you call it the modevakschool. So it's a fashion school she did. And another brother of mine is very good carpenter. He's amazing with carpentry. Wow. You know, so there's still a lot. And I remember one of my oldest brother, he studied interior design. So it was always there.
Yeah, but it seems, I mean, from what you're telling, maybe materialistically you didn't have much money, but the community is everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, my story is I wasn't born into money at all. We were actually we had nothing in the beginning, and my dad he made some good deals. He's a real estate developer, and then all of a sudden, I remember from 8 till 9, it was like we all of a sudden like in a different class.
Yeah.
It was so confusing for me also. We went from a 60 square meter home to 400 square meter. I was confused. I was lost. I was lost in this house, and a thing that I felt always. My dad came from extreme poverty, like extreme. I'm saying like going to bed hungry and stuff. So he never instilled in us this thing of the family has money. It's the opposite. Like we don't have enough. You know, we need to have more. And what I liked actually in the education that they give us is that no one thought that we came from there. You know, is that it was always, no matter what it is, hard work is going to bring you joy. Yeah. The fulfillment of achieving something with your own hands.
Oh yeah.
Money is just he always taught me. He said it's zero energy. Yeah. Money can create beautiful things, but it can also destroy the same amount of money. So it's not necessarily that you have it, is what are you doing with it? Yeah. How are you actually developing yourself, you know? So it seems to me like things were really at your favor a lot of times.
Not
right?
always. Not
No,
always.
I mean, you're still above 50. You
No, but I have to
experienced
say what I noticed when I started to do graffiti and started to hang out with people from the city and Amsterdam South and the Grachtengordel. I remember the first time I walked into one of the, I forgot the girl's name, and her father had a lot of money, and I walked into this apartment and I was like, "Do you really live here?" And it was like marble stairs, a lot of floors, elevator to a room.
Wow.
And I was like, "Wait, you really live here?" You know, I really had to, it was very confusing for me.
Yeah.
And what I noticed that people that I also started to come in contact, because when you're poor, you live in reality. That's all you have. You know, it's very hard. It's you don't have time for certain ideologies, and it doesn't really exist with the people I was. You know, and then I started hanging out with people that had all these ideologies and making the world a better place, yada yada yada. And I was like, that's weird. And then I figured out, like, you can afford to have these ideas.
That's so good. That's so,
We can't,
that's so good.
you know.
That's so good.
I didn't have time and
You
money.
can literally afford to have
You
these
can
thoughts.
you can afford to have these ideas.
Yeah. It's so interesting because it's interesting to say that because you gotta have some struggle. And
Yeah,
you
of course.
gotta have some. That's why also I'm a big disappointment for my dad because
Oh,
I
yeah?
was supposed to. Yeah, I mean, disappointment's not big, but I was supposed to take his business. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
hoping for it, and I was like, no, I'm gonna be a musician. He was like, I will give you millions of euros. I was like, I don't care
Yeah,
about
yeah.
your money, because it's funny because once you come in contact with an art form to a point that you feel like it's an extension of yourself, there is no amount of money that people can give you to stop it.
Nope.
It's even, I'm telling you for real, he offered me €1,000,000 to go to Amsterdam and invest it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm a musician. And I
Yeah.
was broke.
Oh,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm a musician.
Yeah.
And actually, from that moment on, we became much closer.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he saw, he has a spine.
Yeah, yeah.
He has a spine. It's not just something that I can just sway him off it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, no. Even when I got out of the army, it was like, you're not getting back home. You're supposed to be in special forces, all that
Oh, really?
nonsense. And I was like, no. And I didn't go back home. But it's not here. Like, the reason I'm saying it, I'm telling the story, is because eventually correct me if I'm wrong, also if it's your experience, there's like a symbiotic relationship between the creator and the creations that they're creating.
Of course.
And nothing can break it.
Nothing can break it.
Nothing can come in between. Prison, death, this, loss, whatever it is, nothing can come in between that. You will continue creating.
I remember.
I tried quitting music. I tried it. It didn't work.
I tried a normal job. And that took like 1.5 years. And then I was like, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
I was like, it was not even a bad job. It was like working at a printer, but it was like full time. So in the weekend I would be dead. And my dream was like, okay, I do this 5 days a week. And in the weekend I have free time to do my art. And after 1.5 years, I'd hardly made any art. And I'd made a conscious decision, like, I need to get out of here and focus on my art, because that's something that's me. And I got a lot of like people, but you're not making a lot of money and blah blah blah. And I was hustling and doing odd jobs here and there, but all my money went into my rent for my apartment, and I hardly had any food. I was eating at my mother quite a lot. But when I came home, I would sit in front of the canvas and just for hours just put on my music and just do this. And that had so much value for me, because that expression, that feeling of just traveling into these worlds I was creating, that had the most value for me, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I couldn't stop it. And I always said, like, when I look back on the day, I didn't have any money, but I had that feeling and that experience, and I would love to do it again,
Yeah.
just because that feeling of just sitting in front of your canvas, and even with the growl of hunger in your stomach, and you're thinking like, I'm not making any money out of it, but it's just this urge, and just finishing your canvas, and looking at it and just being so proud of what I just did, and just analyzing it for your next canvas. I love that, and
there
no
is
job,
someone-
nothing can compare with that.
And there is someone that would look at this canvas and it could change their lives.
Yeah,
But I mean, of course, I don't want to generalize. I don't want to do it black and white, like yes or no on this. Let's say like this. Okay, let me ask you this before I go into my statement. If you had, what would you prefer? To have your talent or to have 10 million euros in the bank?
talent, easy.
Exactly.
That's not even a question.
Exactly. So it's really that trade-off.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
And-
not even an option. That's,
it's not. It's like, why would I even? If someone would tell me I give you 10 million and you can never play a
Nope,
single
fuck
note,
no.
I was like,
Hell no.
no. Are you
No.
crazy? Give me a trillion. I
Yeah.
will say no to it because it makes no sense. Because the money is not the thing. The money is just a tool for, especially for people with a specific artistic moral. It's like, Joao, I'm sure you'll just buy more equipment, right?
Yeah.
My dream is to have a Stanway D. Like that's my dream, like what we recorded on, right? And it's like, it's like a small house in Almere. That's the price of it, like more or less. Maybe a little less, but nowadays. But I would prefer to have that.
Yeah.
I would prefer to, and that's where, again, I think if you're a parent that's listening to it, send your kids, even if it's a hobby, send your kids to drawing class, send your kids to dancing lesson, if you can. I'm here in the Netherlands also, you have amazing programs. It's basically for free. You pay like administration fees, which are just a few euros sometimes. You have amazing programs in the Belmar. Actually, my wife is actually really busy with these. She's developing these programs.
Well, where is she? Which?
We do like talentontwikkeling.
Okay.
In Alakondra, she does it. Our son goes to Onze Wereld. It's like
okay.
Yeah, and we live in the Gebeurt also.
Oh yeah.
We live in
that's where I.
in Geerdinghof. We live.
Yeah.
And she's all about making it affordable for everybody, and she's doing amazing. We will have her in a podcast also. She's doing amazing stuff. But it's the reason I'm saying it is because where it sounds like a cliche, but where words fail, art begins.
Oh yeah.
And then your kid, they go through a lot of stuff, especially nowadays with like social media and avatars and who are you and how many followers and all that stuff. If they can express themselves in a metaphor, in a sense of metaphor, to express what they feel, and not necessarily that they have to put words to it constantly, and express themselves with verbal language, they can find amazing fulfillment in that. It doesn't have to be a profession. It just could be just an amazing journey.
I agree. I really agree.
Do you think talent exists? Do you think there's an actual thing that is called talent, or is it just
I
hard
think
work?
there's natural talent, but what you do with it, talent doesn't have to last forever. By the way, you can be very talented at young age, and if you don't do anything, you don't develop it.
Yeah.
But there's talent, and there's also craft.
So what's natural talent for you? How do you define that?
For me, a natural talent, it's very hard to define. For me, I think the talent came before the craft, and what I remember is that, and I still do. My best friend actually said it. Yeah, you can switch, so you can like. What he noticed with me is if there's something that I can solve very quickly, that's my talent. He said like you can switch so fast. I can't do that. When we're talking about something, or he sees me working with people, I'm like, hey, I see something, and I suddenly I try to solve it. I think, and that's also something that that where my craft came in, solving things.
It's like pattern recognition,
Yeah.
also recognizing the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I was a kid, that was my strongest point, to develop my craft.
Mm.
And I think
Does it have to do also with your upbringing, maybe? That maybe there were like problems around and you had to solve them quickly?
yeah, and also because there's not much of material and a lot of finances to do your thing, so you learn to work with the minimum you have to get the maximum out of it.
So you were very creative with your limitations.
Yeah. Out of the still I do what I do is, even when I work now, I don't have a lot of material or anything. It's just like with the minimum, I try to do the maximum, get maximum effect.
Yeah. That's really the thing of creativity, is that a lot of resources doesn't mean that a good thing will come out of
No,
it.
it could be, but it's not.
Yeah, it's really the allocating of them is really important. Also, I've seen productions that cost enormous amounts of money, and then it didn't get to the right people because there wasn't the right vision or understanding of it. It's just like it doesn't mean if you put money into stuff that it's
Doesn't
gonna
matter.
work.
You see it with music or movies, like the biggest classics that I like. They didn't cost. They hardly cost anything, but they kind of transcended time,
Yeah.
It's just a couple of kids that were like, oh, we're going to make a movie and we have this great idea.
Do you have recommendations, actually, that you want to, like movies that you think about now?
No. Jesus. That's a
Oh,
good
you just
question.
said it now. So.
I can tell you my favorite movies.
Yeah, please.
One of my all-time favorites is Blade Runner. That kind of changed my life when I saw it in 82 on a videotape. My brother rented it. I wanted to go see it in cinema, but the group I was didn't want to go to it. They said, I was with a couple of girls and they said like it's a guy's movie, a boys movie, so they didn't want to go. And I said, yeah, but Tron is there as well, which is also a boys movie. They hated that, so I saw Tron instead. But a year later, I saw Blade Runner, and it kind of changed my perception of what the movie can do. Production wise, I was like looking at this, I was like, this is beyond anything I've ever seen in my life production wise, and it just stuck with me. Also the story, but what I saw on that screen,
Absolutely,
that kind of blew me away, and it still does.
Yeah. That's it.
More.
Yeah, please.
I'm a huge fan of David Cronenberg.
Oh,
I
yes.
really love Cronenberg because even though it's horror, it's next level horror. It's very cerebral.
Like The Fly and stuff.
The Fly, The Brood.
My brother made me see The Fly when I was 6, man.
Videodrome, stuff like that. I really loved it. He has a specific language in making horror movies. But I also like new directors like Denis Villeneuve.
He's
awesome.
He's awesome. He's really great. What a visionary, man.
Yeah, and I like that. But I like all the directors, like Coppola. That's one of my also a great director that I love. Martin Scorsese, obviously,
course,
I love that his work, his body of work. I grew up with Spielberg, obviously,
and to say that again, if you look at these people, they were consistent in their work.
Yeah.
But if you see the first work compared to the last work,
Damn.
it's insane. You're
Yeah.
What? Like, because for instance, Scorsese would do all these B movies. Right?
Yeah.
Do a ton of B movies.
Also with Roger Corman, he did a lot of work with Roger Corman.
And then at some point, he just became this like monster, this beast but through the craft.
Yeah, I remember, and also the knowledge, because these people like Spielberg, Coppola, you name them. If you talk with them about movies, you're gonna be floored. Especially Martin. They know everything in details. The total cinephiles. So the moment they started making movies, it was not only the crowd, but also the knowledge, but also again the love for the subject.
Yeah. The love is so important. The love is the thing that you got to be kind of obsessed. You know? Think about it. If you're in love with someone, you're obsessed with.
Oh,
that
you're
person.
obsessed with that. I've been through that quite a bit recently.
The smell, the kiss, this, everything. So it should, and then what happens? The love grows, and the relationship grows. You get to know the person. Similar to that with a type of craft.
Yeah.
You fall in love with it, then you check, oh, what did this person do with that? What did this person do with that? And all of a sudden, this whole world opens up, and this positive tribalism of working together and making things better and making things better because it's what you said. Like, for instance, it makes me think of Tarantino is one of my favorites, for instance, and he was like on a talk show. I think it was like one of these American ones, Fallon or something, and what he did, he would read the back of cassettes, and he would have to guess which movie it was.
Oh yeah.
Within a few sentences, he always got it.
Yeah.
He was so
immersed in
that world.
Yeah.
So of course his movies are going to look like this.
Obviously.
It's so that's why this question, and I raise it especially with talented artists here in the podcast, of what do you think talent is? I think it's a spark of obsession.
Oh yeah.
It's that spark that you're just I can't stop thinking about.
You can't shut it off.
You can't. And if you have it, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
It's a curse if you don't do anything with it. It's a blessing if you start putting yourself in the right channels.
I always, when I look back in my time with dealing with graffiti artists and artists itself, I always find it so sad that I also met a lot of artists that didn't get anywhere, you know, and like, dude, that guy was so talented, you know, and then you see the spark fade, and they disappear. Luckily, some of them kind of reappear. I just met, I'm actually going to do an exhibition with that guy called York. And when I was a kid, you had like a lot of graffiti from York, a rebel. And the guy suddenly disappeared, and a couple of years he popped up with this totally new style.
Wow. And there is that, which is really cool and refreshing and inspiring. And then there is the other stories which they disappeared and that's it.
Yeah.
And these stories scare me, man. Oh man, that's
or they disappear, or they were never there, and they kind of get discovered. Their body of work, and they're long gone. And there's this photographer, I forgot her name. I never remember her name. And she used to take care of kids. And her hobby was like going with her camera through New York and just photographing the city. And she never wanted any recognition. She just kept the pictures she totally did it for herself. But if you look at the quality of her pictures, your jaw just drops. And she kind of got rediscovered. She kind of got discovered. Now she's this big thing, and her prints go for a lot of money.
That's cool. Wow.
But that's also something that can happen, you know. So all these, because a lot of people through the ages and through time have been so creative, but they never got anywhere. And there's probably a lot of drawers or attics or cellars filled with great bodies of work waiting to be discovered, or just becoming lost in time, you know.
Thank God they found these paintings of Van Gogh, you know, in that attic. Thank God, man. Can you imagine if they didn't find it? It would just turn into this anonymous, you know, guy. And that's also, thank God for the kids of Bach for playing his music after he passed away. Jan Philippe also for composing. It's these things of what we talked in the beginning of the podcast is that you create, the world decides.
The world decides, yeah.
You know, you create, do the thing, just do it. It's really important. The world needs it.
And it's also the moment in time that you do it, because you can, if you would have done the same thing 5 years earlier or 10 years later, it maybe it wouldn't have worked, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just a product of your time and the moment in time. You know, sometimes the stars align in that period of time.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
People pick it up because you're part of whether you like it or not, or you're conscious of it. The zeitgeist also has to do a lot with it. I believe. I really believe that.
No, I really agree with you. Man, I love this podcast. It's awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm wondering, when you do exhibitions, what do you do then?
I just stand there and nobody knows
who you are. So now I know who you are. I'm going to come to an
it's kind of
exhibition.
funny. It's always funny.
I'll be like, it's this guy.
And people really ignore me.
That'll be funny if someone is like, if you should do it, you should really do that.
Yeah.
Just go with like a candid camera and just talk shit about your work and then see how people respond.
It's very surreal sometimes, because you stand there and people just ignore you and they just look at your work. And I also had
Sounds pretty liberating, actually.
Oh, I love it. It's it's
so
funny.
honest. It's just
Yeah, and I remember one time I was doing an exhibition in OD Gallery, and I was talking to somebody in front of a work of mine, and a girl stood at my back. Yeah, can you please move? I want to take a picture of the of the work. I said, hey, go ahead. So it's surreal, because there's
so
it's easy to keep yourself a bit detached at that moment from the whole situation, but it's fascinating because you kind of see these honest responses on your work. There's no filter with people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You should try it. You should just walk around with people. What do you think? I think he's you can cite it. This is garbage.
That's garbage. I wouldn't do that.
I would if I was him. I wouldn't do that. It's like, you know what? I do agree with you. It's like
oh, you're actually right. It's garbage.
What do you think of the state of the art education right now?
To be honest, I can't answer you that because I didn't do real art education. I did graphic school, and that was not real art education. And I tried to get into art education. I wanted to go to art academy, but I applied, and I didn't get accepted. And that was also the reason that I decided to do it for myself. So I can't. I think that's an experience I really needed to have had to give a proper answer on it.
Yeah.
But if I go to certain academies, from my subjective perception, it looks very similar. I can see that certain people come from certain academies.
Okay.
That's something I started noticing. And it's not a swipe or slagging them, but it's just it's like certain people come from certain academy, and they have a similar voice.
Yeah,
it's hard to explain, but you kind of see this overlap in these voices that they kind of learned from the academy.
No, I understand.
But I also know artists that I really appreciate that went to the academy and totally has kept their own voice, and they're insanely good artists, But there's also a majority that kind of have this similar artistic voice, and that's something I noticed. That's what I can.
Yeah, the homogeneous.
Yeah,
the homogeneity. Yeah,
you see it when I go to exhibitions and that are more conceptual. It's just a kind of similar voice and a similar thing that I see. And it's just a certain language that comes out of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I don't have any...
You just observation.
It's an observation of mine.
Yeah, because I wonder if it's done by the community of students or is it being propagated by the teachers?
Yeah, that's something. Maybe it's when you go to the academy and you think like, I have my own voice, but this is the way this is the language I should appropriate to do art, And I put my own art to this. I have no idea.
Yeah,
it could be. I have no idea.
Yeah,
but it's just something I just noticed.
How much is after art school? How much of a useful degree is that? I mean, what you learn there.
I have no idea. I wish I could say that because I don't have any artist degree. I think. I wonder, can you learn people art? Can you teach it? I find it hard. I think it can and it can't.
Yeah.
I think it's both.
What is the can't for you?
Because I'm doing it. I see a lot of people that are just doing art just by doing it.
Yeah.
And I think there's benefits for
But
both.
you learned also from your peers, and that's
Mostly from my peers.
yeah. So you did learn. Maybe
Yeah.
it wasn't through conventional channels
No.
of a classroom with grades and everything.
No.
Which is weird by itself. It's very bizarre, but still, yeah. I mean, it's just. I think a lot about the paradigm of let's say creative education.
Yeah.
I don't want to say art because music also is there, filmmaking,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Anything that has to do with you create content.
Yeah.
It just became such a 4-letter word, the content, and is the conventional way until how it is right now with the revolution of the internet, the amount of information that is being possible, the amount of connection that you can make with people all over the world. Is it still sustainable? That's the question. You know, if it could be really something that, or will it be changed at some point?
I have I can't answer that.
Yeah.
No. What I was lucky with is that I came into a world where that was like small, and you saw. Sorry. That was small, it was new, and it was still developing. So organically I developed with that.
Yeah.
And that was my learning school, you know. And one of my peers that I always looked up with, that was David, and his name was Nar. And when we were sitting at his home or with friends, he was the guy that I was like, shit, he's so good. I'm just going to look at how he does it, you know, because I can learn a lot from that. He was really, from the guys that I met in my life, he was really one of the guys that really helped me hone in on my skill. Because when I was struggling to do a letter and do a piece, he did it like in one line effortlessly, and he would like go page after page, and everything was jaw-dropping that he did, you know, and I was like, fuck, you know. Yeah. That guy is amazing. That's somebody I looked up to. So,
but the dynamics that you're talking about, it's mentorship, for instance.
Yeah. But he was not my mentor. He was a friend. Yeah. But it was still a mentorship. Yeah. Subconsciously.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. That it's kind of like that paradigm will not change.
No.
I think that paradigm of someone is better than me, or someone. So let me. Or someone is more experienced.
Yeah.
Let me just soak in that.
Soak in what he does.
Yeah, exactly. What he or she are doing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I understand schools for that sense, because they kind of like, okay, let's centralize all of it.
Yeah.
And make a curriculum out of it and bring teachers. It doesn't mean that teacher that you're getting from the institute is going to fit you.
No.
And then you have people that I had it personally in the conservatory that. The teacher didn't fit me, and
why didn't he fit you?
He didn't fit me because, let's say like this: what he wanted to do with his career, it's not something that I would want to do. The music that he played is not something that I actually liked that much. When I brought my own compositions to the class, before I moved to Amsterdam, I was in New York, and now when you're in New York. That's a creative place.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
we felt like we're on the edge constantly of making something new, because everybody was in it. Everybody we would have these composers pool of finding the most crazy techniques of composing music together and then going and playing it immediately and hearing all this crazy stuff. And
you lift each other up, you know. That's
constantly lift each other up.
Look at what he's doing.
Yeah,
and look at me. Listen to this. And you
absolutely
you build on each other.
Absolutely. And when you put all these interests together and the constant playing and this, you get new music.
Yeah.
I remember in New York, for me, I listened to music that I didn't know could exist. Right. Literally, I was like, I never heard something like this, you know. And then when I went to Amsterdam, I came with a bunch of compositions that I did with my friends there. And the thing that he told me is, you got to get your head out of New York. This is not New York here. This is Amsterdam. We play different type of music. And that already started the clash between us, you know, because he would tell me that, and then afterwards I would go to the BIM house, and my friends would play there. But I was told not to write this type of music because this is Amsterdam. So
Yeah.
it was this weird. We had a weird clash with each other, and considering the conservatory has such amazing facilities and amazing community and all that, my experience, the fact that it didn't work between me and the teacher, created like a bit of like a sour experience in the conservatory, where what you're telling of David, this friend of yours, it was your choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't imposed on
No,
you.
no, no.
Now you're going to
Absolutely.
learn from him.
No.
And then it was, you're feeding each other.
Yeah.
You're among peers.
Yeah.
And I think that if you go to a school and someone got the amazing opportunity to mentor and to give information to younger apprentices, let's say, that person has humongous responsibility.
Oh yeah,
Humongous.
I believe so.
Humongous. Also in the aspect of, you can also make people stop doing that if you don't treat it with respect, in the sense of, I know a lot of people that finish conservatory, and because of these type of experiences and what they were told, they stopped playing music.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
The passion was dead.
Passion was dead. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. Like, and I know the other way, that they got out of conservatory and they just became way better and really, like, I'm one of them. That I didn't let conservatory stand in my way. I'm gonna go for what I want, but then it has to do with character. And I wish that it was a little bit, but also, I mean, I don't know let's say the practical logistical stuff of a school, because I never ran a school to that level. So I don't know which kind of stuff they're coming constantly in contact with, so I don't want to judge it, but.
But it almost sounds like New York was more open for you and more daring, and people were like, hey, let's go for it, let's whoop. And here it was more...
New York, you need to be the most exotic. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
The more exotic you are, the more people will be drawn to you.
Yeah.
Here, it's the more conventional you are.
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to go, yeah.
The more we will accept you here.
More restrained, more... It's called Calvinism.
Calvin. Exactly. Oh, Calvinism. Oh, that's so true. It's exactly Calvinism. Yeah, it's that. And... is there any big project that you're working on right now? Because you said you're going to present, right? I mean, this is out in 2 months, right? 2 months, something like this.
Sorry? What?
No, I'm thinking, when is this podcast out? In like 7, 8, 9 weeks? Or
Oh, that's going to be, okay.
Yeah.
No, I just finished working with America Today. We just did a project with them.
Amazing.
And it was for 750 years Amsterdam.
Nice.
And it was a project that I did to Revelator. That's the agency I started with 2 friends. And what we want to do is bring street art, graffiti, and street culture artists to brands. And they were the first to do it.
Nice.
And I asked Dadara. Dadara is very well known from the 90s period of house. He kind of gave it the imagery of it, the graphic style of it.
Of house music.
House music. So he was very part of the early days of house music, and he's a friend of mine. So I proposed him to do the dance culture. And I was like, no, let me do the graffiti street art part. And they wanted a female. So I said, yeah, there's one that I know. That's Mickey. Mickey is one of the most famous graffiti artists in the world, I think, almost. So, and we designed these hoodies, these tote bags and shirts. And that everything had to do with Amsterdam. 750 years. It was a celebration of our city.
And is it already out for
Yeah,
sale?
it's been out for a month now.
Okay, because and people can buy.
They
the
still can
merch.
buy it. They can still buy the
Okay.
merch if you.
We're gonna put it in the link.
Oh, yeah.
Description. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of
if you
course.
go to the stores, it's still there.
Do you know Justin Bua? Do you know?
No.
Justin Bua is just an artist that I follow, and he has really his style. He draws,
Yeah.
and he has a style that has to do with like street art, hip hop.
Okay.
And he talks a lot. I'll send you. He talks a lot about the state of the art. Right now.
It's with gray hair.
Yes.
Yeah, he did this piano guy that drawing with the saxophone or. I follow him too. He's amazing, but he's funny as hell. He's very honest.
I never saw that he draws with both hands.
Oh yeah.
He draws with both, just both hands, and I mean, I thought okay, he's a troll in the beginning, and then I checked his stuff, and I was like,
it's
this
pretty
guy's
good.
Legit.
He's good. He's good.
It's like but he does this crazy funny. He goes to art galleries, and I was like, well, this is a piece of garbage.
His comments are like, I kind of find it always a bit difficult to publicly slag art that I don't like of, because I always think like, hey, you should I respect the craft and the passion, So, but the way he does it, I have to say it's funny.
Yeah, he talks about like the state of the art world. I guess for him, it's because he's he went through he has a big arc, of accomplishing himself and this, and then doing the transfer and the conversion, also the social media afterwards, and there you reach way more people. And to see all of a sudden also really bizarre works of art. Yeah. Really bizarre that it's like under the umbrella of art, but it's just all conceptual.
Yeah.
It's all conceptual and weird. And I see that also in music. And I wonder what's the point of that type of art? Because from the music standpoint, I can tell you that. And of course, I know I'm generalizing, and I'm sure there are like really brilliant stuff coming from that type of things. The majority of it is not consumable by people that are not in that.
Oh yeah, okay. You mean
what I'm saying?
The more experimental?
I'm saying for the commercial aspect of it, for the people, for the does it have value for real? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm asking myself for real. It's like, I guess Joao also you have these things also, right? That you see like some film, you're like, why was it made?
But I also have it with certain art that I see. I'm like, for who is this?
Yeah, for who is
it's
this?
not for the big public. So for who is it? Is it for a couple of in-crowd intellectuals that are that can discuss it? that feel entitled. They're not entitled, but that feel. It's almost sometimes like cutting the real world out, the majority out, so you can like have this niche thing among yourself,
Yeah.
And I think it has value for that part, but personally, I like it when art is accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's my own taste. And when I went on the street, I was like, I will treat it as a gallery, because what I notice, and I noticed it from myself when I was younger, the threshold to walk into a gallery is very high, because there's certain expectations that you have when you walk into a gallery, that you should be intellectual, you should be knowledgeable about the art, but it can also be like you walk in and you just like stuff, and that's what I try to do with my work. Like I go out on the street and I just bring it to people, and you can have your opinion about, you can like it or not, but it's out there, so it's accessible for everybody. And sometimes I think, because I love art so much and I love to see it, but it's also like a bit closed off sometimes, for the general public.
Is it because of gatekeeping?
I don't know. I don't know if it's gatekeeping. It could be gatekeeping because it's also business, So sometimes you need to make it a bit rarer and something you want to have, or that you achieve a certain status that you can afford it. So that something could be that. But I think that's one of the layers of art.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think about like this relationship between, let's say, funding bodies, that fund specific types of art.
Yeah,
they give money to the to the stichting, or they give money to the person, to the artist, to be able to express that. And is it done in like a bubble or is it done for the public?
Yeah.
It's money from the public if you think about it.
But it could be, I think it works both ways. It depends on the art and the artist and the thing that you find. Sometimes it's for the bubble. And then it's sometimes very inaccessible art. Even if it's in public, sometimes there's art in public that is totally not accessible. You know, people look at it and they're like, okay, yeah, that's my money went in there, you know. And sometimes it's for the public. It depends, you know.
Yeah.
I think what I notice with a lot of, where I come from, a lot of street artists, they do it really for the public. You know, they try to make something beautiful or really say something.
Yeah.
Or just raise up the neighborhood, you know, with their colorful works.
Is it starting to be more accepted also by the government?
Oh, yeah.
With putting money into projects?
Street art, yeah. Especially the murals, it's very very popular. So if you go, for instance, to Heerlen, it's in Limburg, they have the most walls on buildings, and it's really insane.
Wow.
They're like one of the, I think, maybe in the world. I'm not sure.
In Heerlen?
Yeah, in Heerlen. If you go there, they have the most murals, and they invite artists over. The city, the city also finances it, so that they get artists in. They give them a wall, and they just let them cut loose. You know, of course, it's a bit regulated. You can't do
not
every subject, but overall, it's very funded. I wish Amsterdam would be a bit more like that as well, you know. Does it
have to do with lobby that artists have here or not?
Sorry?
Does it have to do with lobby? Lobby, like in the sense of people pushing towards it? Because here it just sounds so random.
Yeah, but over here they start to have lobbies for it. So Eileen, that I worked with, I believe she's also working in the gemeente to promote it and help artists with that. I don't know if she does it anymore, but there's still a lobby there. And also funds like Mondrian funds, they did a pilot for street art because they kind of start to figure out that it's also a very culturally valuable way of art.
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids now tap into it, and they're also going to grow up with all the art that they saw around them, you know. So they kind of try to be ahead of the curve, like, okay, we're also going to fund these artists, because at some point you're going to see street art and graffiti in museums, and
absolutely
people that are going to be 70 bring their grandkids to see the art that they saw as a kid, you know?
Yeah, and I think also is that throughout all the years, there's going to be a language developed that is going to be taught in schools, and it's going to be institutionalized.
Of course, it has to. It's. I think it's too important, a too part of culture now.
Yeah.
Not for that not to happen. I'm not sure, but that's what I believe.
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, similar to what happened to jazz a little bit. If I think about it, jazz wasn't institutionalized. You studied from people. It was the underground. Let's say, you know, it was a culmination of. Especially what was playing, let's say, more in the bebop era. It's like after the musicians would play in big bands, and afterwards, and they would have to play for the wealthy, and, you know, for the privileged, and they would have to play in a specific tempo, and they had to play the American songbook, and they would, because they wanted to dance to that, and they would play that for many hours, and then when they were done, they would go to Minton's Playhouse in Harlem, or they would go to other jam sessions, and they would just play for themselves. Fast forward a few decades after, all of a sudden you have kids in Indonesia, or you have kids in South Korea studying this art form, because it took people by storm, you know. And I see a lot of similarities to graffiti also, is that everybody's doing it all over the world. There is I'm sure that there is a different, let's say there's a German style, there's a Dutch style, and there's a South Korean style, and all that. But the common denominator is graffiti. And then all people come together. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's probably a very big online community.
A lot, Yeah,
millions probably.
And what the online community does, because what you said, like there used to be an American style, a Dutch style, a French style, a German style, I would recognize it. But because of the internet and people get all these imagery, it kind of becomes homogenized.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's really interesting. Also
yeah.
with music, huh?
Yeah,
Music also
I
made
kind
it,
of started noticing it. Like, hey, there's not a lot of difference between the French and the people from Norway and English. It's
the access is so
Yeah,
so quick. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and seeing it, I'm sure there are probably a million tutorials of how
Oh
to.
yeah, oh yeah. I don't
how
know
to
if there's
do it.
tutorials, there are tutorial books about how you can do it, and videos and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that.
what I mean.
But I started noticing like, hey, the language is kind of becoming a bit homogenized in certain areas. You have certain artists that really have their own voice, but some stuff started to look similar.
Yeah.
And that has to do with the access to the information. Because when the kids were doing it in New York or France, it was kind of in your own culture also.
Right.
So also a little bit the language of your culture is kind of seeped in.
Yeah. Did you travel also to see different styles
No,
and spend some
not
time?
really, not really.
No. Okay.
Like I said, I didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I didn't really travel a lot. But it was more through books and magazines that I saw what was happening in outside of my bubble here in Amsterdam.
Yeah. If you could sit with yourself with Laser that is 20 years old,
Yeah.
you could sit with yourself with all the knowledge you have, what would you tell that young Laser?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, Jesus. Keep on going. Don't despair and don't stop. That's what I would say, because there was a couple of times that I was like, I'm not sure, and maybe this and yada yada yada, and it was pretty hard also for me that era. And I would say like keep on going, and it will. Everything will calm down and you will settle in. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And just do what you do now and just keep doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And don't keep your fearlessness intact. That's what I would really say. Just keep going and keep your fearlessness intact, because that's something when I was 20, I was like, fuck it. Just go. Just let it go.
Yeah.
And
So consistency, keep on going, never give up.
yeah, it's a bit all the cliches, but that's what I would say.
I mean, it's, I like cliches because they have a function. They're coming from experience. It's like a massive amount of experience.
Yeah, cliches, as I always say, like they're cliches because they work and they're timeless.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Laser, thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you.
this.
That was pretty cool, actually. Thanks.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Really,
Thank
we're
you.
going to drop all your links.
Yeah.
It's the first podcast that we're doing without showing the guest, which is really cool. I can see you, so I can recognize you, but out there, people can't. But I'm sure people really enjoyed listening to everything. It was very insightful, and it was great having you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and it was really fun.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks, Joao, for making this happen, and Joshua in the background, and everybody. The podcast is growing, guys. It's really a growing community, and we're so happy that you're a part of it. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Thank you again, Laser. Thank you, Joao. Thank you, Joshua, and we will see you at the street with the graffiti.